So today we look at how to price an option on a currency. So the exercise reads, the Australian dollar is currently worth 0.61 US dollars and this exchange rate has a volatility of 12%. The Australian risk-free rate is 7% and the US risk-free rate is 5%. What's the value of a 3-month European call option on the currency with a strike price of 0.6 using a 3-step tree? Excellent. So as you'll see on the right hand side, we have all the formulas we're going to need. So because this is a 3-step tree, we're going to have to use this formula. Then we have the formula for the probability and then for U and D. Okay. So let's write down what we know first. So we know that the volatility, which is denoted by this letter, sigma, is 12%. Then we have the Australian risk-free rate is 7% and the US is 5%. So how to know which one's the domestic and which one's the foreign interest rate? So because we said because we're denoting the value in US dollars, so 0.61 US dollars, this means that the US dollars, so the US is going to be the domestic and the foreign is going to be the Australian dollar, okay? So R, which is a domestic interest rate, is going to be 5%. And the foreign interest rate is going to be 7%. Okay. What else do we know? Now we know it's a 3-month European call option. And we also know it's a 3-step tree. So in this case, we know that the time step, so the time period in each step, is going to be, so 3 divided by 3. So it's going to be 1 month on each step. And remember, because the unit of reference is years, 1 month, there's 12 months in a year, therefore 1 over 12 is going to be the time period on each step. Okay, so now we have everything we need. Let's draw the binomial tree. So before drawing the binomial tree, we need to find out U and D. Remember, U is the magnitude of an up jump, so by how much the currency goes up, and D is the magnitude of a down jump, so by how much the currency goes down. Okay, so in this case, U is going to be equal to e to the power of the volatility, so 12%, 0.12 in decimal places, times the square root of the time period, which is 1 over 12. Now, if you plug this into the calculator, you should get that U is equal to 1.035. And then D is the same, but with minus the volatility. So e to the power of 0.12 minus 0.12 times this. If you plug this into the calculator, you should get that D is equal to 0.966. Okay. So let's try and draw the binomial tree now. So the question says that the currency is currently valued at 0.61. So we start with 0.61 and then we go up or down. So we said U is by how much it goes up and D is by how much it goes down. So in order to find the currency value when it's gone up, we do 0.61 times U, which should give us 0.635. Then we do 0.61 times D to find out how much it's worth when it's gone down. And this gives us 0.589. Now because this is a 3-step tree, we keep going. This is a 2-step. Again, we do the same exact process. So 0.635 times U gives us, 0.631. 31. Then here we get 0.654. Then 0.631 times D, we get 0.61 again. 0.589 times D, we get 0.569. And then because this is a 3-step tree, we need to go one more time. So So let me get rid of this. And so again, we're going to multiply by U and Ds to get the final currency values. So here we're going to get 0.677 when we multiply this number by U. Then 0.654 again times D, we get 0.632. Now, by the way, notice that on these points, so this one, for example, and these two, whether you do 0.654 here times D or 0.61 times U, you should get the same result. You choose which one to do. Okay, 0.61 times D, 0.589, and the last one times D again, 0.55. Okay, perfect. So now we have all the currency values. Now, because this is a European call option, now European, remember, are options that you can only exercise at expiration, so the last time period. Therefore, now we can find out the option prices, the option values, by looking at the last time period. Okay. And remember, this is a call option. A call option is when you make money when the currency is higher than the strike price. Okay. So in our case, the strike price is 0.6. Therefore, we can see that here the currency value is 0.677. Therefore, the investor is making money. So in this case, the option, which is FUUU, because it's gone up 3 times, would be the currency value, 0.677, minus the strike price, 0.6. And this gives us 0.077. Here, below 0.632, the option is denoted by FUUD or FUDU. You choose whichever to write down. And here's same process. The currency value is higher than the strike price. Therefore, the investor is making money. Therefore, he would exercise the option and he would make the difference. So 0.032. But what about these two here? Now, as you can see here, the currency value is lower than the strike price. So this means the investor would be losing money. So remember, because this is an option, so an option gives you the right, not the obligation, to exercise the option. It means that because the investor is losing money, he wouldn't exercise the option. Therefore, the option is worthless. So the option here is denoted by FUDD, and so it's worthless, equals to 0. And then here, the option value, so FDDD, again is worthless. Okay, excellent. So now we have all the option values, which we need to find out the current option value. Okay, so before we do anything else, now we need to find out the probability. So we said U and D are the magnitudes, so by how much the currency goes up or down. But now we need to find the probability of it going either up or down. Okay, so to go up, the probability is P, and then going down, the probability is 1 minus P. So let's find out P using this formula. So here it says P is equal to E to the power of R, which is the domestic interest rate, which we said is 0.05, so 5% but in decimal places, minus the foreign interest rate, which is 0.07, everything in brackets, times the time period, which we said is 1 over 12, and this whole thing minus D, which we said I'll write U and D down. So U is 1.035 and D was 0.966. So D is 0.966 and then over U minus D, which is this. Okay. So if you plug this into a calculator, you should get that P is equal to 0.4673. Okay. And therefore 1 minus P would be equal to 0.536. 327. Excellent. So P here would be 0.4673 and 1 minus P 0.5327. Perfect. Okay, so now we have everything we need to find out the current option value, which is denoted by F. And so this would be here, below 0.61. So instead of going manually in the binomial tree and going step by step to find out all the other option values, so for example FUU, FUD, FDD, and then having to go back one more time to FU and FD and then one more time, we can use this formula to go directly from the last period to the current period. Okay, so we need to use this long formula, so let's go step by step. Okay, so F is equal to E to the power of minus 3 times the domestic interest rate minus the foreign interest rate, so 0.05 minus 0.07 times the time period, which we said is 1 over 12. And then we times this by open brackets, so the probability cube, so 0.4673 cube times FUUU, which we said is 0.077. Then we have plus 3 times P squared, so 0.4673 squared times 1 minus P, which is 0.5327, times FUUD, which is 0.032. Then again we have plus 3 times P, so 0.4673, times 1 minus P squared, which is 0.5327 squared, times FDDU or FUDD, same thing, which is 0. And then finally we have 1 minus P cubed, so 0.5327 cube times FDDD, which is 0. And we close the brackets. Okay, so remember, anything times 0 is 0, so we can get rid of this one, and we can also get rid of this one. And we're left with the first two, okay? So let's solve these. So e to the power of minus 3 times 0.05 minus 0.07 times 1 over 12. If you plug this into the calculator, you should get 1.005. And we open brackets. The first part, so P cubed times FUU, should give you about 0.00786 plus the second part, so 3 times P squared times 1 minus P times FUD. This should give you 0.0112, and then we close brackets. And finally, if we finish solving this, you should get that F is equal to 0.019. Excellent. So we know that the current value of a 3-month European call option on this currency is equal to 0.019. And so this is the final answer. Okay. So first thing to do is find out everything you know from the question, write it down. Then you find U and D, the magnitudes, in order to be able to draw the binomial tree. Once you draw it, you find out the option values. And once you found the option values, you find out the probability, and then you finish by using the main formula to find out F.